Anime Cider here today, and guess what? I figured this would be fitting considering Japan's win, the dunk that they've gotten here. This is where the dam starts to break. Ubisoft has acknowledged that they've created copyright theft now, and they're so abashed about it, they've vowed they're not going to continue doing it, but the copyright theft they've already committed, they're just going to go ahead and leave it as is and charge lots and lots of money for it. Let's find out what they said exactly. We've got a statement from the Ubisoft Japan account, not the official one, by the way. That's interesting, right? I can't be the only one that noticed that. And in fact, I wasn't. So this is what Ubisoft Japan had to say. You see right here, the Ubisoft Japan. And thanks to Google Translate, we do have somewhat of what they've said. This is Google Translate, so I will fill in some gaps here. And it says, we, being the Ubisoft Japan team, or at least Ubisoft Japan run by whoever, we have received notice that two pieces of concept art previously released for Assassin's Creed Shadows use the flag of the Sekigahara Battlefield Hospitality Union, the Sekigahara Rifle Corps, without permission. Ubisoft was given the opportunity to apologize, and it was accepted. The art in question will not be used or distributed any further beyond this date, except for being included in the art book in the collector's edition. The collector's edition, the one they charge you a lot of money for. Remember? Lol. We deeply apologize for this matter. All right? Now, if you're not familiar with what this is exactly, okay, let me show you. In the concept art that's apparently staying in this book, because screw it, copyright law in Japan isn't as awesome as copyright law in the West, apparently. Screw you, Japanese, you and your inferior legal system, I guess. Because they're just throwing caution to the wind here, but this is the concept art that features the Sekigahara Rifle Corps' flag. Now, it's a side-by-side. This comes to us from PC Nation, as you can see. We're going to scroll to the side here, and this is the flag that's used by the reenactment group. If you're wondering, the Sekigahara Rifle Corps is part of a reenactment group. Now, again, I want to stress that we have this in the U.S., right? We have the Civil War reenactors, we have the Revolutionary War reenactors, and there are some people who go out and reenact things from World War II and other battles around the world even. It's not just Japan and the U.S. that do this. And so what I want to stress here is that a lot of what we see in the Assassin's Creed concept art is just ripped from reality. It's not given any type of legal precedence, right? So they found things and they just stuffed it into their concept art book, irregardless of if it was like licensed material or not. And they're apparently so abashed that they don't care about this, okay? It's pretty crazy if you ask me. But guess what? The users in Japan, the Twitter users in Japan, they're not having it either. This user says this, and they say, this is Google Translate again. This may not be exactly what they said, but it's Google's best effort to tell us what they said. And they say, don't you think they have something to apologize to not only the Sekigahara Rifle Corps, but also to all Japanese people? Actually, it's laughable how audacious they are, being Ubisoft, to include it in the art book as is. I'm impressed that they didn't disappoint, meaning they didn't let down this user's expectation of being poor stewards of their own creation. By the way, are there really Japanese staff at Ubisoft Japan? If so, what do they do? And apparently they apologize for their French bosses. Ubisoft is run by two French guys. They released the Assassin's Creed department, or Shadows. Assassin's Creed Shadows is run by Benoit and Dumonte. These two gentlemen are French, for lack of a better term. I don't think there is a better term. They're just French. I don't know what that means to you, but I know what it means to me, and I know what it means to this Japanese user here. It says, if it's included in an art book, does that mean it'll be sold? I don't know if you got permission to do that, but even before that, as a creator, do you have any thoughts about what you would be embarrassed about or what you shouldn't do? So it's just Japan apologizing, but the headquarters that actually did the mistake hasn't said anything, right? And to our knowledge, as of the recording of this video at 1:17 p.m. on the East Coast, on July 8th of 2024, Ubisoft Japan, Ubisoft, like the general account, the main account, has not acknowledged this issue with the Sekigahara Rifle Corps. So this user is correct that only Japan apologizes, which makes me wonder, maybe that's what the Japanese Ubisoft staff do, is they just apologize for their French bosses. How about that? This user says, are they just going to apologize and release it as is? I guess it's okay since people who aren't Japanese wouldn't understand the meaning anyway. Are they looking down on buyers? Well, probably. They're assuming that Americans and other Westerners aren't going to bother to research any of this and instead just go with it. Oh, that looks cool. I want a t-shirt with that flag that has all the kanji on it. I don't even know what that kanji says. It just looks really cool. Can you give me a t-shirt with that on it, Ubisoft? And well, guess they can't. How about it? So this user had this to say do you have permission to use this material? And what this user tracked down was that inside of Ubisoft's own concept art, wrong C word, concept art, inside of that were stock photography, right? So you have a stock photo of a man wearing Japanese historical robes, historical clothing. You have a Japanese farmer carrying hay on his back, some type of grass anyway. You have these two gentlemen that are dressed in black, I believe these are samurai robes. I could be wrong. Nobility robes, maybe? These appear to be above the standard of the peasants on the opposite side, if you will. So these might be nobility or security. I'm not quite sure. But this user went out and found all of this, and where these pictures are just jammed in here. So apparently Ubisoft couldn't be bothered to hire an artist to draw all of this. They had to go in there and like slap some stock photography in there. And it makes one wonder, like, how much else is just ripped from photography from the internet that's now just going to be in their book. And they don't care. They don't care at all, right? They don't care at all. So we're going to go on with Japanese comments here. This user has this to say. It says, quoting Ubisoft, pretending to be them, they say, I'm sorry for accidentally infringing on your copyright. Boo-hoo. I apologize, so it's okay, right? Boo-hoo. I'm going to use the image as if it was my own for profit still, okay? Boo-hoo. And he says, are the members of the Sekigahara Rifle Corps who are satisfied with this, are they gods or Buddhas? And this person is implying, are they benevolent people? Are they so forgiving as to forget the offense originally, is what he's asking. And so this user, who's not a fan of Xi Jinping, has this to say, and they say, to make them apologize by using the Ubisoft Japan account as a shield, are you guys really okay with that? We demand an apology from the head office. As for the Sekigahara riflemen, that's fine. There were guardrails back then, and there are still tons of problems. Let us hear from the headquarters, though. Otherwise, we won't be satisfied. All right, and that's Google Translate, so it has some bumps and bruises on it. And this user has this to say. There's no news from the primary Ubisoft account. Is this posted only in Japan, where the Sekigahara Rifle Corps is located? And yet the original site, meaning Ubisoft's primary Twitter account, where most buyers see it, will be unaware of this apology? That's what this user's asking. And then this user had this to say about it, right? And this is expanding on the problems that this whole game seems to have. It says, from what I saw, the in-game trailer, the gameplay in the trailer, the historical research, including the layout of the castle, temple spaces, is extremely sloppy. I think it would be better to remake the game itself. This echoes the petition that we talked about the other day, and in fact, you'll find the link for it down below. And also, make sure that you tell your Japanese friends to sign it, and make sure that that is circulated to other Japanese people so that Ubisoft Japan, the account that is forced to apologize for all of this because their French bosses just can't be bothered to do it themselves, huh? How about that? The French not taking responsibility. What a new concept, huh? Anyway, back at the plot, you've got Ubisoft over here apologizing for this use, yet the main account doesn't acknowledge it. So that's how it's going right now. That's what we have to deal with in, the current battle. But I want to stress what I said at the beginning about this, okay? This is where the dam starts to break. Ubisoft has now been forced to acknowledge that they've created copyright infringement and that they don't care about it, that they're going to proceed anyway, and they're still going to charge a premium for that stolen content. So this has demonstrated to the Japanese people that Yasuke is not a mistake, that saying non-Japanese eyes was not a mistake, okay? This is all on purpose, and it's all to make sure that it's a bunch of people who have no business lecturing to the Japanese people about their own culture and history getting an opportunity to do that. But I don't have hands today because I'm a VTuber. You'll have to trust me, I'm pointing at the camera. Until next time, good luck out there.